brothers? It's my channel's birthday, which means I've been on YouTube for an entire year.
You can tell I'm a pro gamer because I have a monster on my desk. My desk is very unclean.
It's crazy to think back on where this channel started and where it is now, but YouTube has been an amazing experience with many ups and downs. But through it all, I've met some incredible people and made some great friends and experiences I wouldn't trade for anything. Oh my god, there's so many in the distance! We need to run! We need to run! Run! But the highlight has always been you, the viewer. Getting to meet so many people from around the world and build a community has and always will be the best part of YouTube. Now, for me, starting a YouTube channel has always been a dream of mine. To be honest, I had kind of let life grind me down to the point where I thought my dreams was being financially stable, and anything beyond that was just kind of foolish. I always talked myself out of doing this for one reason or another. Like, I didn't have enough money, I didn't have enough time, I didn't have the right equipment, I wouldn't know where to start. And all of this just built up and prevented me from starting for a very, very long time. That all changed when I had a really honest conversation with one of my friends who quit his career to go pursue his dream of becoming a filmmaker in New York. When we were talking about this, I was so proud of him. Like, congratulations, you're doing something that really means something for you. And he asked me, like, what were my dreams? And when I told him what I told you guys, that I wanted to be financially stable and that's it, he just really honestly looked at me and said that was sad. And it wasn't like meant in a rude or mean way, but I as soon as he said it, I knew. It was sad. It was sad that I gave up on my dreams. So my dream was becoming a YouTuber, and I took the plunge. Now, it wasn't at a good time in my life. I had just lost my job. I'd ended a relationship with my long-term girlfriend at the time, and things were not looking the best. But as one of my favorite books, Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman says, life rarely rolls out the red carpet for you. Often it's more of a swamp and you have to push for what you want. So I decided I was going to do that. I bought all the equipment, I created the channel, and I put out my first video, which had copyrighted music, so I don't get any money off that. But hey, mistakes were made and I started somewhere. And from there, I put out a video every single day for an entire year, minus about 3 days. It's amazing so many of you have been inspired to start your own YouTube channel. So today, as a thank you, I thought I'd take a deep dive into some of the most common questions people ask about becoming a gaming YouTuber, including what to expect, how much money you make, the tools I use, and things I would have done differently. Now, I'm not the expert on this. This is just my first year doing it, so I could have the wrong answers, but I hope this is kind of a starting point for you. Now, starting out can be an overwhelming experience. How do I do it? What game do I play? Do I play a game? Do I do something differently? And so the best advice I could find when I started is what I'm going to share with you now. First off, define your niche. Choose a topic or niche that you're passionate about and have experience in. I chose Territorial IO because it was a game I was good at. The game has a wide variety of maps, some of which are procedurally generated, which means every episode will look and feel different. And each game only lasts about 10 to 15 minutes with little editing, which is something we'll talk about later, but for now, know that editing can be a huge time suck. Research your competition and take a look at other YouTube channels. Know what kind of content they're creating, how often they post, and what does their audience engagement look like. When I started, there were 3 players in my game sphere: Drew, CG Plays, and the Grave One. Drew, being the biggest, is a variety gamer, would only post territorial content about once a month. CG, the second biggest, would post multiple times a day, and Grave would post a little bit more infrequently as he's pursuing his master's degree. So, CG being the only daily content creator and receiving about 20 to 40K views per video, let me know that there was room for me to enter the space. Now, you don't have to pick a small game, but just know it's easier to get noticed than trying to get a piece of the pie playing a big AAA game. Invest in good equipment. While you don't need to spend a lot of money, investing in a good camera, microphone, and lighting equipment will help create a high-quality video for your viewers that they'll enjoy watching. I chose not to invest in a camera, honestly, because when I started YouTube, this wasn't something I was sure that I was going to be able to do long-term or enjoy doing. And I knew to have the quality I would want out of a camera would cost a lot of money and time, so I chose to not do that, but it is something I plan to do in the future. So I started with a Blue Yeti microphone and a microphone stand. I record using OBS, which is a free software on PC, and I use Adobe Premiere Pro to edit. Now, there are free software such as DaVinci you can use instead of Adobe Premiere Pro, but Adobe was something that I had familiarity with, so I chose to buy it and use it. Engage with your audience, respond to your comments and questions from viewers, and encourage them to share their thoughts and feedback. This will help build a community of loyal fans, and this is something I heavily invest in. I take the time to reply to every single comment that anybody leaves on any video. I also have a Discord channel, and honestly, that is probably my weakness as a YouTube creator. I wish I could spend more time in Discord chatting with you guys, but it is a time management thing where I don't always have the availability to just chat, which is something we'll talk about later on. Be consistent is, not only in terms of posting, but honestly, the quality that you do post in. You don't need to be like me where you post every single day, but every video you should put out should be in line with what you've just put out, if not better. Promote your channel and be proud of it. Now, this is something admittedly I could do better on social media and collaborating with other YouTubers, but I'm proud of my YouTube channel. There's a saying in sales where if you can't sell the product to your friends and family, how are you expected to sell it to a stranger? So I'm very open and honest with my friends and family that I'm doing this, and they're very supportive and encouraging for me, which has allowed me to continue doing this. But first, let's take a look at where my channel is today. This is the channel dashboard inside YouTube Studios. So this gives a quick snapshot of the channel, but most importantly, lets me know how my latest video is doing. Now, this video is rated a 7 out of 10. YouTube takes the last 10 videos you put and ranks them 1 to 10, 1 being the best. 7 is okay because the metrics are fine. When you look at views, views are typical, impression is actually typical, but average view duration is up. Now, we'll talk about why this is so important here later on, but know that this being up is very, very important. This is the channel analytics. This gives a snapshot of how the channel is doing in the last 28 days in comparison to the previous 28-day cycle. So as you can see, my views are up 121%, with views, watch time, and subscriber count being way, way up. So when I talk about the support on the channel has been insane, I truly mean it. I couldn't be more thankful for you guys. Now, when we scroll down, this will give the top content in the period to let me know what thumbnails are working best, what types of videos are working best. You bullied me into starting here. Is the top performing video. It was actually suggested from the comments, so thank you guys so much for that. And when we click on this video, you'll see it's gained 245 subscribers. This video alone's earned me $35. Revenue is what we're going to be talking about here in a little bit. As you can see, this gray bar down here is what a video typically does, and this video's skyrocketed past that. Now, this is the content page. So this again shows you the views that I have on the channel in this period and the impression count, how much YouTube's algorithm is pushing this out to other people. Of that 4.2 million, 5.4 are clicking on it for an average of 8 minutes and 50 seconds. Down below, this is also a key moments for audience retention. YouTube heavily monitors the first 30 seconds of a video to know if it's clickbait or not. So when a video has high retention after 30 seconds, YouTube basically knows this is not clickbait. This is a video that people want to see. Now, these are above average intros, sitting about 76%. My channel average is about 65, with RimWorld performing a little bit worse than that, kind of letting me know that my audience isn't that interested in RimWorld. Now, scrolling down a little bit further, this will also just show you how viewers are finding your channel, and again, the top videos that I have in the 28-day period. Now, when we click on audience, this shows me who is watching the channel. So the purple bar is returning viewers. Now, this doesn't mean subscribers, but people who have seen a video on the channel and have come back to watch another video, the blue bar being true and unique new viewers. Now, down here is videos growing your audience. This means videos that people have watched and returned to the channel to watch more on. So when we go to, what do you mean I have dangerous borders? This video has the highest number of people who have watched this video and returned to watch others on my channel. Now, as you can see, I've only gained 49 subscribers, where the video I just showed you had over 200. But this means a lot of people are watching this video, and my revenue is higher than the other one. Next is channels that my audience is watching. I obviously have a very strong overlap with Drew and Z, who make very similar content, but I can look at these guys down here and say, what are they doing that maybe I can incorporate into my channel for maybe some fun ideas of how to grow my content. Now, down here is when are my viewers on YouTube? As you can see, most of my viewers watch on Sundays. So if I think I have a good video that's going to get a good chance of going viral, I should probably post it on Sunday, where I know most of my loyal fans will be watching it. I'll never get as big as Z over here with 55,000 with his latest video. Definitely go check that out if you haven't had the chance to. It was a great video, and he's a great guy. Now, scrolling down a little bit farther, this will let you know subscriber bell notifications and geographies. I love seeing where my audience is from. As you can see, most of my audience is from United States, United Kingdom, and Germany, Canada, English-speaking countries, but it's crazy to think about how many people watch from all over the world, and I'm so happy to have met so many of you guys from different places, and I'm just blown away at all the places that people watch the videos from. And lastly, this is a bar you're probably familiar with if you've spent any time on YouTube, the watch time from subscribers. How many of members of your audience are subscribed to the channel? This is something a lot of YouTubers plug to say, please subscribe to the channel. 30% is kind of average. I wish it was higher, but it's perfectly fine if you're not a subscriber. I want to earn it, so whatever I can do to make that, please let me know. And finally is age and gender. As you could probably guess from a geography-based map game, I attract mostly a male audience, but I do have a 7.4 female percent audience and a 0.5% user-specified audience, which is great for me. That's a little bit higher than average, and it means that I'm building an inclusive environment for all of those to join the community, and that's something I'm very proud of. Lastly is age. Age is an important factor when it comes to monetization. As you can see, my demographic skews a little bit to the older age, with 18 to 34-year-olds being the vast majority of my audience, which we'll talk about why that's important here later on. So let's talk about revenue, which I know is what most people are here for. How much money do you make? Well, in the last 28 days, I've made a little over $1,000. Now, that is not a fully accurate number, but keep that in the back of your mind. We'll come back to it later. How do I earn this money? It comes through what's called a CPM, or cost per melee. Melee is Latin for 1,000. So a YouTuber advertiser pays per 1,000 views. In my case, they're paying $7.77 to be on my YouTube channel. Of that $7.77, I make $3.09 out of it in what's called an RPM, or revenue per melee. Now, a CPM and RPM are going to be different for each type of channel in terms of what content are they putting out and when is it coming out. Different YouTube channels and different niches have different CPMs and RPMs based off what an advertiser is willing to pay to be featured on that channel. So the biggest advertisement group that you can have for a good RPM, CPM is finance. One of the lowest is actually gaming. Gaming typically sits around $1. So if gaming is $1 and mine is $3 currently, what factors into that? Well, first off is seasonality, which we mentioned earlier. Advertisers are willing to pay more to be in specific seasons than others. For instance, advertisers want to advertise more during November and December because of the holidays, where January and February they advertise less. Advertisers work the same way with other companies where they have budgets they have to adhere to. So they propose the budget, and their budgets typically aren't approved until late January/early February. So without an approved budget, they don't know how much they can spend, which is why most companies don't spend advertisement dollars in January and February. To give you an idea of how much of a lull this can be, this $520 I earned in January, $150 of that was actually a donation from one man. So take $150 off of that, and that's how much I actually earned in January. Other factors that YouTube takes into account to determine your CPM and RPM is the type of content you put out. So first off, who is your audience? If your audience is children, that limits the amount of advertisers and type of advertisements that can be displayed on your channel, shrinking the pool and therefore decreasing your CPM and RPM. YouTube also asks what type of ads are you willing to put on your video. The highest grossing ads you can have are non-skippable video ads, with the second being skippable video ads. But there's also sponsor card, overlays, display aids, but most importantly, the video mid-roll. The video mid-roll will earn you the most amount of money you can have from a video. YouTube also takes into account that not all advertisers will be associated with all types of videos, so it asks you a series of questions in terms of ad suitability. Does your video contain inappropriate language, adult content, violence, shocking content, harmful or dangerous acts, recreation drug content, enabling dishonest behavior, hateful or derogatory content, firearms related content, sensitive events, or controversial issues? Now, YouTube lets you self-audit this, and because my video has none of these, I click none of these. So YouTube says your video is safe for ads, but it also audits how good of a job you're doing at auditing yourself. My rating accuracy is high, so YouTube trusts me to say that none of these apply. We have verified that none of these apply, so you are eligible to earn more on YouTube. Now, in terms of how I make the money, most of it does come from the watch pays ads, which we talked about. I do have a little bit of YouTube Premium and a little bit of fan funding. I have created some shorts, but shorts give very, very little money, so I only have 12 cents from that. I elect to not do YouTube memberships or have a Patreon for the time being. I feel like that might be something I do when I become full time, but for right now, this is still a hobby and I don't really feel like there's a need for that. But it wasn't always like this. The first day I was monetized was September 19th. I started this channel April 7th, which means there was a number of months I put out videos to nobody and got no money from it. YouTube requires that you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time to be monetized. And within that time frame, once you are eligible for monetization, you have to earn at least $100 for them to send you out a check. But when I mentioned that almost $5,000 wasn't the full picture, it is not. The government considers me a 1099 employee for YouTube, which means I'm a contractor. Contractors are taxed differently, and we lose about 15% of our income to taxes. So that almost $5,000 is in reality $4,141. Then when you start to take into account the expenses that I've incurred just making the channel, that starts to diminish even more. I started off small with a Blue Yeti mic and a mic stand for about $125. I mentioned earlier that I do use Adobe Premiere Pro, which costs $21 a month. I also use Canva every single month, which is how I make my thumbnails. From there, I bought a second monitor. I famously had to buy Microsoft Windows to remove the watermark at the bottom right of my older videos, to a lot of fanfare. And from there, I upgraded my equipment to what I am at now, which is the Shure SM7B, which a lot of these materials have to be used for, and the TC Helicon, which replaced a lot of this stuff over here. These were both very expensive, but it is allowing me to have the professional sounding microphone which you hear today. So when you factor in the total expenses I've had throughout the year, I've spent about $2,000. So overall, I've made about $2,103 or an earning of about $5.76 a day. And I show you this to highlight that YouTube is not a get-rich-quick scheme by any means. It is very much for the love of the game, and it's very much been a journey I have enjoyed. But know that I do not do it for the money. But it's important to pay tribute to the amount of time and effort it took to become monetized. I made videos daily for 7 months before I saw a single penny from it. During this grind, I would get ecstatic if I got views that were double digits, and I was so happy for each and every single person who watched a video, who liked a video, who commented on a video, and it was really a fun hobby for me. And eventually that grind started to pay off. I started to get hundreds of views at a time, and as you can see, I started to really slowly but surely take off here in August. Looking back, August was the beginnings to something great, and I didn't really know that. At the time, I was just so excited to be putting out videos that so many people liked, and I've never lost that feeling. I always want to put out the best videos, and I always get excited when people enjoy it. And I feel like that's the best part about being a YouTuber, and what most people need to know when you're starting, is that's what it's all about. And it's important to know that everyone's journey is going to be different. It's the beautiful thing about YouTube. So don't compare yourselves to others. Just have fun doing what you do best. Looking back over this year, I couldn't be more grateful for the ride we've been on together. I want to thank you guys for watching this video and allowing me to be part of your daily lives. If there's one piece of advice I can leave you with, is if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, is the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is today. Thank you guys for a great year, with more to come.